This morning I wanted to show you a few little projects around the Grove. It's an area of the Grove I find really interesting, and so here we'll start here. This is just a seedling plant, but basically I have put a lot of seedlings all the way down this area here. Now, all of these mango trees, these little mango trees, will be grafted to known varieties. So this corridor is basically going to be very productive in a few years. But then, as we turn the corner, of course, these are more seedlings here and there. Here we have East Indian, and we just had a few fruit last year. It looks like we don't have a ton of fruit on here, but if they all hold, we'll have a few more than last year anyway. We've got fruit down in this area. East Indian fruit often is not perfect looking. That's the case there. I don't know if that one might drop. But anyway, we have some fruit going on there. This is Kerry. We've got, 2-inch fruit and blooms. Here's a tree that I cut back. This used to be Floridon, and actually the shoots are still Floridon. It was getting too big for this area, so I cut it back, and I will graft another variety onto this that doesn't get quite as big. Floridon's not a huge tree, but in this sort of tight space, it was a little bit too big. Then we have ice cream. This is the original ice cream tree in this particular area. I noticed a few years back that the fruit from this tree seemed to do really well in this area. So this is our hopwort tree. We did a whole series on this. I think there are 4 videos on this particular tree. It used to be Valencia Pride, and it had gotten into the utility lines. So I cut it back and grafted it to ice cream. And it's just how I want it, really. It's a really nice compact variety, and it seems to be doing really well. This is the star performing area here for some reason, but just a lot of fruit. Of course, it's not going to hold all of this fruit to maturity, but this area seems to be really good for this tree. Looks really healthy. I think it gets a lot of air circulation here, part of the reason that it's doing so well. And this tree used to be Kent, which of course is a large variety. So I want to switch it over to another variety. This is now Orange Sherbet. It's looking great, but it doesn't look like it's going to flower this year. Next year, this should be a productive tree. And then I don't have any irrigation in this area at all, so I just planted seeds. And these seeds are probably from 2 years ago, and they are at a great size to graft. I haven't grafted anything on these trees yet, that cluster, but this one I have. And this is Karen Michelle, grafted right here, and then I just recently put a graft on the little seedling behind it. These are also little seedling trees that I grafted. This one is E4, or sugarloaf. I have another sugarloaf here, and recently put on onto this seedling here, graft. So I'm seeing right now that we have some sprout outs. There's just so much energy in the plant that it's making these sprouts instead of devoting all of the energy to the new graft. So at this stage, it's good to just break off this new growth, because you you don't want any diversions. You want all the energy to go to the graft that you put on the tree. And I think I've got them all. Of course, it'd be nice to weed so I could see it a little bit better. But yeah, right now this is, oh, I almost forgot. Right up here on top, it's got a few little shoots. And you know, all these leaves take about 45 days before they earn their keep. They are users of energy right now and not adding energy to the tree. So take them off and let all the energy go to the graft that you've put on. Oh, same thing's happening back here. This is the graft, of course, that I want. And this is not. And then we have these little shoots forming here. After this this new graft really gets established, you will not have the problems with these young shoots coming out in places that you don't want them. So just try and maintain things, keep an eye on them a lot early on in the process. Here's another situation. These are older grafts here. You don't see any shoots forming below because there's, you know, the energy is, you know, is all being consumed by this new growth that's actually pretty mature. And then we have a few plants here that I'm waiting for them to get a little bit more vigorous. These were actually not seeds, but like plants that were in the corner of the shade house not doing particularly well. You know, I think the root system's pretty well established, but I want them to be a little bit more active in growing. So especially this one, this seems like older growth. This one seems like it has a lot of new growth on it. And this would be there's a lot of nice areas to graft onto this particular plant. So I could get some scions prepared and graft onto a few of these areas. Looks like the case over here too. I cut back this plant because it was, you know, it needed to get a little bit more vigor to it. So it did. I had cut this back, and these are new shoots, and it looks like we could graft onto this real soon. This particular shoot here, I'm not sure if I will or not, you know, as far as grafting onto this. It looks a little wimpy, looks like most of the energy is going here, so this particular little branch might die out in the future, so I'm not sure if I'll do anything with that or not. Then we have one more area so far that could be something to graft onto, but this looks like a very sorry plant. I'm not sure if it's worth the effort to graft onto it. It might be best just to wait and plant some seeds here. When I plant seeds, I normally don't just plant one. I'll put like 3 or 4 or 5 seeds in an area because not all of the seeds will survive without, you know, irrigation and attention. So this particular plant, there's rot here. It was really struggling in the pot, so I'll have to think about that. I might cut it back below this rot and below the branches and see if it sprouts out in a, you know, nice, healthy, vigorous way. If not, best just to start anew, put new seeds or a new plant down there and wait for it to get established and then graft onto it. So that's a quick look at this one area of the grove. I like to have little projects going on, and this particular area has had projects of different ages and stages, and we've got to have our original top work tree, as far as the one that we made the series of videos about. And then we have a whole nother generation of trees coming up here. A lot of them have been grafted, and then we still have some to graft and to plant.